east of the city there. We're tracking the storm coming north towards I-20. It definitely put down a large tornado right as it approached I-20 just to the east of Canton. Luckily, a lot of the traffic on I-20 was aware of this, pulled off the road, took safety precautions there. Once we got the kind of clear, it was obvious that it passed by. We immediately moved in behind it there to just start assessing the damage, doing search and rescue operations. We approached the Dodge dealership outside of Canton. It took a direct hit. The video will show, obviously, that it was a complete loss. There are vehicles thrown everywhere. There are some vehicles from the dealership that had been thrown, I would say, about 500 yards. And it was just chaos, absolute chaos. If you don't know which vehicles were driven, which vehicles were on the lot, you just got to start searching and just looking for anyone you can help.
Yeah, we're looking at your video here. It's pretty dramatic stuff. And we've seen Allison Harris is at that car dealership now, just torn up. I'm going to take a chance here and ask you a question I don't know the answer to. Maybe you do. I'm told that First Monday was going on this weekend in Canton. That means thousands of extra people are in the Canton area because of that First Monday trade sale. Have you heard anything about what might have happened at that site?
I didn't hear anything directly. I'm not aware of the trade day taking a direct hit, but I did pass through the area when the very first tornado warning was issued. It did seem like a lot of people were aware. They were leaving the area, evacuating, trying to get into some kind of cover to avoid getting hit with that.
Again, we're looking at your video, very dramatic scenes of damage all strewn along the road here. Where are you at now? What are you seeing right at this moment?
At this moment, I did a lot of search and rescue as much as I could there. And if we've seen this evening, there's been a train of storms. They had repeated tornado warnings. We actually had an additional tornado warning approaching the dealership. The county law enforcement actually had us evacuate the damage scene. So I actually cleared the area there. I'm no longer tracking the storms, but it's just a really bad scene. Anyone that's trying to get out and take a look at this needs to just stay home, stay off the road if possible.
And again, your images that we're showing right now, Nick, they're just stunning. The damage is really severe. We're not going to know the extent of it for days, I'm sure.
Yes, and it was a very concentrated damage. One half of the dealership was untouched. There were vehicles that didn't have a scratch, and maybe 50, 100 yards away, they were wrapped around trees, completely destroyed. It was a very, very narrow damage path. There were actually a few people that took cover under the service bay. They pulled into the bay area of the dealership. Miraculously, the building collapsed around them. They were uninjured and were able to get out of their vehicles and were unharmed.
Okay, you're an experienced storm tracker. We just showed some pictures from a group that's a two-year college, DuPage College up in Illinois. Were storm trackers from around the country in this area tonight expecting something like this?
There were a few with the forecast that was put out. It was all the ingredients were in place, so there were a handful of folks from different states and different areas. A lot of guys out trying to do research. Some media personnel out as well.
Yeah, we've been looking for several seconds now, at least a couple minutes, at all these cars that are strewn around it. Now, I'm taking it, that being that dealership there, it looks like every car there is smashed. But you're saying, as far as you could tell, most of the people there got out uninjured?
Yeah, most of the people in the dealership, or if anyone was there, they did take cover in the dealership and were okay. The majority of the vehicles we were actually able to identify by looking at the dealer plates. So most of these were from the dealership. I do believe there were a few vehicles that were on I-20 that were thrown off. We had some injuries there, and I believe there was one fatality out there as well.
Have your travels tonight taken you anywhere near that triage center at Canton High School?
No, I haven't been by there. I wasn't in that area. I tried to focus on, the Dodge dealership. It was the task at hand. And then, of course, the second storms came through, and we had to evacuate that area due to the repeating threat of tornado in there.
Well, I'm sure you've been listening. Dan says the threat is not entirely over, although we're hoping that the threat of tornadoes has passed.
That's correct. It is waning, but there is non-zero threat right now. There is still a chance. Definitely need to be aware.
Okay, tell me again, where are you at right this moment?
This moment, I've actually headed back to Dallas to kind of regroup. They seem like, most of the local law enforcement and everyone has made it into the area and has got the situation in hand. We're trying to let them do their job there.
Nick Busby, these images you have sent to us are stunning, absolutely stunning. I want to thank you for taking some time with us on the phone tonight.
And some of them just kind of ran into the trees, and that's where they have stopped. And this is at the very edge of the dealership, so who knows how far these cars have traveled. But, you know, it's dark out here, and so as we kind of move around, we're just discovering more and more of this. There are tires everywhere, long pieces of metal, pieces of this entire dealership building here, and we're just continuing to see this tonight. Powerful storm that can move trucks and large cars like this. I want to remind everyone, Highway 64 is shut in part. We have heard from first responders that there are several mobile home parks that are damaged and that there's flooding and high water surrounding some of those, and rescuers are trying to get in and see if there are people who are injured there. So if you're traveling through this area, know that Highway 64 is closed in part. Again, just seeing more of the damage here to this Dodge dealership. This is just the most visible example to show you of how destructive the tornado was here in Canton tonight. Rich?
I suspect we will be following this story.